You felt it. That electric jolt when reality unfolds in an impossible way. Two events collide with no logical link, yet they hit you with the force of revelation. A name you were just thinking of suddenly pops up on the radio. A dream you had last night plays out in front of you the next day. These moments are no mere accidents, and you know it, don't you? Picture a sunny street in Bermuda. A 17-year-old rides his moped down a familiar road when a taxi comes out of nowhere and strikes him dead. Tragedy strikes, senseless and sudden. But 1 year later, his brother climbs onto that same moped and rides down that same road. At the same intersection, a taxi hits and kills him too. And yes, it was the same taxi, driven by the same driver, carrying the same passenger. Two brothers, same spot, same fate. What are the odds of that? If you read that in a novel, you'd roll your eyes. Too unbelievable, you'd say. No way it could happen. But it did. When life repeats an event with such eerie precision, you can't help but wonder, is this really just blind chance? Your logical mind stutters, searching for an explanation, and somewhere in your gut, a quiet question emerges. What if it's not random at all? Now imagine two babies separated at birth, adopted by different families, growing up oblivious to each other. By pure chance, both families name their boy James. Both boys, call them Jim, grow up only miles apart, leading parallel lives. Each Jim had a childhood dog named Toy. In school, both loved math and woodworking and struggled with spelling. They're living carbon copy childhoods, never knowing the other exists. It gets stranger. Each Jim marries his first wife, both women named Linda. Both divorce, then each marries again to a woman named Betty. Both have a son named James Allan. One of them spells Allan with the double L. Both chain smoke cigarettes. Both drive the same model of car and work security jobs. When these two men finally meet at age 39, they discover they've been living the same life. Fate? Chance? How could such a duplicate existence be real? A famous psychologist had a name for these meaningful coincidences. Carl Jung called them synchronicity. To Jung, it meant two events connected not by cause and effect, but by meaning, a shared significance that defies any rational explanation. He suggested that maybe your inner thoughts and the outer world can reflect each other, like two mirrors face to face. When synchronicity strikes, it feels like reality is winking at you personally. Jung himself witnessed a classic synchronicity in his therapy office. He had a patient, a fiercely rational woman, describing a vivid dream of a golden scarab beetle. At that exact moment, Jung heard a gentle tapping on the window. He opened it and caught a live insect, a scarab-like beetle with a gold-green shine. He handed it to his astonished patient and said, "Here is your scarab." In that instant, her skepticism shattered. How could a dream and reality converge so perfectly? For Jung, such coincidences were not random at all. He felt they hinted at an underlying order, something uniting mind and matter beneath the surface of reality. He spoke of an invisible connective tissue in the universe, a collective unconscious shared by all minds, where symbols and meanings resonate. In Jung's view, when synchronicity happens, it's as if an unseen hand has stitched your inner world to outer events, revealing a hidden pattern. Jung wasn't alone in this exploration. He found an unlikely ally in Nobel Prize-winning physicist Wolfgang Pauli. Pauli, a pioneer of quantum theory, had witnessed how bizarre reality gets at the tiniest scales. Particles mysteriously linked across space, outcomes changing when simply observed. Jung's ideas fascinated him. What if mind was part of this strange equation? The psychologist and the physicist traded insights, searching for a bridge between mind and matter, between the seen and unseen facets of reality. Modern physics itself hints at the uncanny. Take quantum entanglement. Two particles can be light years apart, with no obvious link, and yet if you disturb one, the other responds instantly. Einstein himself was baffled, calling it spooky action at a distance. It defies our normal sense of cause and effect, but it's real, proven in experiments. If even particles can connect invisibly across vast space, is it so far-fetched that minds and events might connect in unseen ways too? And then, there is the simple act of observing, another quantum mystery. Fire a beam of electrons through two slits, and they create an interference pattern, like waves, until you watch them closely. The moment you observe, the pattern changes. The electrons behave differently, just because you are looking. Reality literally shifts under observation. Think about that. Your attention alone can alter the outcome of an experiment. Even at the tiniest scale, consciousness pokes its head into physical reality and leaves fingerprints. These are not mystical fables. They are hard science, and they forced us to rethink reality. Suddenly, the mind isn't just a passenger in the world, it's entangled with it. Invisible connections, reality shifting under a gaze. The old boundaries between out there and in here start to blur. Jung and Pauli dared to suggest that meaning might weave into the fabric of physics. In light of modern science, that doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore, does it? You've lived these moments yourself. Not the headline-making coincidences, but the intimate little synchronicities of everyday life. You think of a friend you haven't seen in years, and that very day, out of the blue, they message you. Or you're humming a song alone in your car, and seconds later it comes on the radio, as if the universe decided to DJ your life. Small, personal, but impossible to ignore. Maybe you keep glancing at the clock at exactly 11:11, over and over, far too often to be chance. Or you learn a new word, and then suddenly you hear it twice on the same day from different people. Life can feel eerily scripted at times, like someone slipped a page of your story into reality's deck. It makes you stop and ask, is this meant for me? What is going on here? When these things happen, you feel a spark inside. A chill runs up your arms. It's the feeling of being seen by something vast and mysterious. It's as if the universe looked right at you and whispered, "Pay attention." In that flash of meaning, you sense that your life isn't just random noise. There is a melody playing, faint but unmistakable. And for a moment, you caught the tune. Then, of course, everyday reality rushes back in. You laugh it off, tell yourself you're imagining things. You go back to scrolling your phone, to the chores and the routine. You try to forget that brief magic, but it gnaws at you, doesn't it? Late at night, you replay that coincidence in your mind and wonder, was there a message in it? Did I just glimpse a hidden layer of life? History, too, is woven with strange synchronicities. Charles Darwin spent years quietly developing the theory of evolution in England. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the world, Alfred Russel Wallace was suddenly struck with the very same idea. Natural selection revealed itself to him in a flash. In 1858, Wallace mailed his paper to Darwin, and Darwin was stunned. Two scientists, oceans apart, had discovered the same groundbreaking theory at the same time. Coincidence? Or was the idea's time simply ripe, whispering to two minds at once? Consider Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz. In the 17th century, with no knowledge of each other, both invented calculus, the same revolutionary math, at almost the same time. It was so implausible that each suspected the other of plagiarism. but historians agree they devised it independently. How does such a complex idea emerge in two minds at once? It's as if discovery itself had a will, appearing wherever and whenever it could, through whoever was receptive. Even governments have dabbled in these mysteries. During the Cold War, the US Army and CIA ran a secret program called Stargate, recruiting psychic spies. They trained soldiers to remote view targets thousands of miles away using only their mind. People sat with eyes closed, sketching what they saw in far-off enemy bases. It sounds like fiction, but declassified files confirm it happened. Why would hard-nosed officials fund such a thing? Because some of those visions hit targets with uncanny accuracy. They couldn't just chalk it up to luck. Something real was happening, something unexplainable. Intelligence agencies even explored out-of-body experiences. They partnered with consciousness researcher Robert Monroe, creator of the Gateway program, techniques using sound to induce altered states. Participants learned to project their awareness beyond their bodies. Imagine that. The US government seriously studying astral travel as if it were a military frontier. Declassified reports describe analysts watching subjects who claim to float out of their bodies and explore far-off realms. It sounds unbelievable, but it happened. Why? Because enough people were touching something real beyond the veil of ordinary perception. Even academia took a look. For almost 3 decades, Princeton University ran the PAIR Lab, the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Program, to test if mind could influence matter. Volunteers tried to alter the output of random number generators with sheer intention. Crazy? Maybe, but the data showed small, consistent deviations from chance. Tiny effects, but persistent. Trial after trial, the evidence quietly mounted that focused thoughts could nudge a machine's behavior. A subtle effect, yes, but it wasn't supposed to be possible at all. Yet there it was, challenging the bedrock of materialist science. Now widen the lens. The Global Consciousness Project. Researchers set up random number generators worldwide to test if mass human focus could influence randomness. Normally, these devices produce perfect chaos. But on days of collective trauma or celebration, a tragedy or a global festival, that chaos gave way to a bit of order. The numbers became slightly less random, as if millions of minds feeling the same emotion sent a ripple through reality. Skeptics scoff, but the data quietly suggests that our collective consciousness can leave a fingerprint on the physical world. These ideas aren't new. Ancient wisdom keepers knew of the hidden threads between mind and world. Hermetic philosophers in Egypt and Greece taught, as above, so below, as within, so without. They believed the patterns in the heavens mirrored those on earth, and the thoughts in your mind could echo into reality. To them, everything was connected by correspondence. The outer world reflects the inner world, and vice versa. Coincidence? No, just the universe speaking in rhyme. In the East, mystics voiced similar truths. Buddhism suggests the external world is like a dream shaped by mind. Hindu philosophy calls the world Maya, illusion, with one underlying reality beneath. In these traditions, mind and matter interweave. Everything arises from consciousness. An uncanny coincidence isn't uncanny to a sage. It's expected. Just the oneness of the universe peeking through the veil of the illusion. Indigenous shamans have always found meaning in what we call coincidence. To them, nothing in nature is random. The flight of a bird or a fox crossing your path at a peculiar moment. These are messages, if you know how to listen. The world speaks in signs and symbols. The boundary between physical and spiritual is thin. What we dismiss as coincidence, they embrace as guidance. Our ancestors lived by this knowing. Everything is connected. The universe is alive, always whispering to those who pay attention. The idea lives on in modern times. In the mid-20th century, mystic Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality. Your outer life, he said, is simply your inner beliefs pushed outward. Change your assumption, feel as if your wish is already fulfilled, and the world will mirror it. Skeptics called it wishful thinking, but many who practiced it swore their fantasies became real experiences. To Neville's followers, this was a law of life. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and reality bends to meet you. Today, voices like Joe Dispenza bring this message into the mainstream. Dispenza mixes neuroscience jargon with age-old wisdom, telling people their thoughts and emotions have the power to shape reality. Through meditation and elevated emotions, he claims you can tune into quantum possibilities and draw them into your life. In his workshops, thousands visualize healed bodies or dream careers as if already real, and many report astonishing coincidences and recoveries. Different words, same principle. Mind over matter. Consciousness sculpting the clay of reality. And then the law of attraction exploded into pop culture. The book and film, The Secret, told millions that your thoughts become things, that by focusing on what you want, you magnetize it into your life. Suddenly, people everywhere were making vision boards, repeating affirmations, trying to think their way to wealth, health, and love. Critics laughed at the oversimplification. Yet countless people claim that once they changed their mindset, coincidences did line up, opportunities appeared, and their lives transformed. It's the age-old idea repackaged. Believe, and you shall receive. Sometimes a coincidence is so jaw-dropping that it forces you to question everything. These true stories read like scenes from a movie script written by an unseen hand. They defy any rational odds, but they happened, and they hint that maybe randomness isn't running the show as much as we think. In England, a 10-year-old girl named Laura Buxton releases a helium balloon with her name and address on it. The balloon floats 140 miles and lands in a backyard. A man finds it and takes it to his neighbor, a 10-year-old girl also named Laura Buxton. The two Lauras meet through this impossible coincidence. They even uncover uncanny similarities in their lives, as if the universe had paired them. What are the chances? A message in a balloon, tying two strangers together, as if by design. Actor Anthony Hopkins once scoured London for a rare book, The Girl from Petrovka, but came up empty. Heading home on the tube, he spotted a book abandoned on a bench, the very novel he'd been seeking. Later, when Hopkins mentioned this to the book's author, George Pfeiffer, he learned the truth. The copy he found was the author's own, filled with annotations, accidentally lost on a train. The exact book Hopkins needed literally landed in his hands. If that were in a film script, you'd call it too far-fetched. Yet, it happened. Here is a twist of fate. President Abraham Lincoln's son, Robert, was standing on a crowded train platform when he was accidentally pushed onto the tracks in front of an oncoming train. In the split second before tragedy, a stranger grabbed Robert by the collar and yanked him to safety. That stranger was Edwin Booth, brother of John Wilkes Booth, who would assassinate President Lincoln the next year. Yes, Lincoln's own son was saved by the brother of his father's killer. Coincidence doesn't get more haunting than that. The hands of fate, it seems, can weave a cruel and uncanny pattern. After hearing all this, a voice in you might be protesting. The skeptic. It says, come on, these are just coincidences blown out of proportion. It reminds you that extraordinary things happen by pure chance all the time, and we simply cherry-pick the ones that feel meaningful. Maybe you're thinking that right now, that all these examples, however startling, are still just random occurrences in a chaotic universe. And it's true. Given enough people and enough time, the improbable becomes inevitable. With nearly 8 billion people on Earth, millions of events unfold every hour. By pure statistics, some of those events will line up in uncanny ways. Lottery winners, doppelgangers meeting, freak accidents. Improbable doesn't mean impossible. In a world this vast, even 1 in a million odds happen daily. That's the logical argument, that coincidences are just math playing tricks on us. Psychologists will tell you our brains are wired to see the patterns, faces in the clouds, shapes in the stars. We connect dots even when there is no picture. It's called apophenia, the tendency to perceive meaning in randomness. We are natural pattern finders, evolved to detect connections, sometimes too eagerly. So of course we latch onto coincidences and weave stories around them. According to this view, synchronicities are just our imagination, our deep desire for meaning, imposing a narrative on chance. And then there is confirmation bias. We remember the hits and forget the misses. How many strange thoughts have you had that led to nothing? Thousands likely. But the one time you think of a friend and they call you, it sticks in your memory like a beacon. We highlight the magical feeling events and ignore the countless mundane ones. We create a selective story after the fact, marveling at the pattern we constructed from only the highlights. So yes, skepticism has a valid point. Not every coincidence is laden with cosmic significance. A great many are just flukes in the statistical dance of life. People win lotteries, lightning strikes twice. Pure luck can string together events that look meaningful, but aren't. It's healthy to acknowledge that our minds can fool us. Randomness can and does produce astonishing patterns now and then, with no deeper message behind it. But here is the thing. You felt something in those moments that statistics can't account for. A shiver, a sense of awe, the unmistakable intuition that a particular coincidence was speaking directly to you. You can rationalize all you want, but when you are the one experiencing a synchronicity, it hits different. It feels purposeful. It's like the universe grabbed you by the shoulders and looked you in the eye. That feeling isn't so easily dismissed. In the end, it comes down to what you choose to believe. You can stick with the safe explanation, mere chance, and carry on. Or you can entertain the possibility that those odd coincidences are something more. This isn't about abandoning logic. It's about remaining open. Open to the idea that maybe, just maybe, life is responding to you in ways you hadn't noticed before. Once you open that door, a new conversation begins. And something remarkable happens when you do open up and pay attention. You start to notice more synchronicities. It's as if the universe says, "Ah, you're listening now," and turns up the volume. What once were rare oddities might become a trail of breadcrumbs. Little meaningful coincidences start peppering your days, guiding you, nudging you. You'll find that the more you tune in, the more these hints appear, almost like life is eager to communicate if only you'll engage. Instead of feeling like a series of random events, life starts to feel like a living conversation. Synchronicities become like winks or nods, feedback from the world around you. You think about a new career path and suddenly meet someone who offers you an opportunity in that field. You wrestle with a personal struggle and a song with the perfect lyrics comes on at the right moment. These experiences inspire you, embolden you. They make you feel supported, as if you're co-creating reality with unseen forces. The more you trust this interplay, the more empowered you become. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of chance and start realizing you can be an active participant in shaping your life. You set an intention and watch as coincidences line up, to help fulfill it. Maybe not instantly, maybe not always how you expect, but often enough to make you marvel. You begin to collaborate with life. You bring your will, your vision, and somehow the right people, ideas, and opportunities find their way to you. Whatever you call it, prayer, positive thinking, law of attraction, it's you engaging with reality at a deeper level. You are no longer a passive observer of your life's movie. You're actively improvising with the director. And here is a secret. The director has been listening all along. Those synchronicities, they are the director's subtle nods, acknowledging your choices. When you nod back, when you acknowledge them, you build trust in the process. You feel less alone, more connected, like you have an ally woven into the fabric of existence. I am not telling you to abandon reason or to see omens in every little thing. I'm inviting you to balance your intellect with your intuition, to give yourself permission to believe that life is more mysterious than we admit. Because once you do, a kind of magic enters your life, not the hocus-pocus kind, but the simple magic of meaning. Suddenly, you're not isolated in an indifferent universe. You're a participant in a meaningful reality that is responsive, alive, and surprisingly personal. Think of synchronicities as breadcrumbs on a trail, or streetlights guiding you through the dark. You don't have to follow them blindly, but notice them, reflect on them. What might they be hinting at? Are they pushing you toward a dream you've suppressed? Are they warning you away from something harmful? Only you can decipher the language of your own life's coincidences. But when you do, you gain a powerful tool, a compass that seems to be tuned to your true north. Think about it. Often at your life's turning points, coincidences cluster around you. It might be that job you applied for, only because you randomly met someone who mentioned it, or the love of your life you met because missing a train put you at the right cafe at the right time. In hindsight, these events feel predestined, but maybe it's simply that you paid attention to the signs and followed the nudges when they mattered most. So pay attention. Give those meaningful coincidences a second look. Smile at them, wonder at them, even thank them. Treat them as winks from the cosmos, little reminders that your life is more intertwined with the world around you than you thought. The more gratitude and curiosity you bring, the more you'll find. It's a positive feedback loop. Awareness breeds more to be aware of. Before long, you're navigating life with a sense of enchantment that cynics will never understand. Ultimately, synchronicities are as real as you allow them to be. To a closed mind, they are nothing. To an open heart, they are everything. They validate that gut feeling that you are not alone on your journey, that something out there, or deep within, has your back. They prove that meaning exists in the cracks of everyday life, not just in grand plans, and they invite you to step into your power, to act as if your thoughts and choices truly matter in shaping what comes next. Because they do. Synchronicities are real to those who notice them. They are signposts on the road of your life. More than that, they are clues, hinting that you are far more involved in creating your reality than you might have thought. They whisper that you are not just a character in the story, but a co-author, that your consciousness, your choices, your beliefs are constantly writing and rewriting the narrative of your world, alongside every other force. Do you want to live in a world of random accidents or a world of meaning? It's your choice. If you start acting as if you co-wrote your story with the universe, everything changes. You move through life with more confidence, curiosity, and wonder. You no longer feel at the mercy of fate. You feel like part of its design. Life still has challenges, but now you carry a secret. The universe responds. It leaves you clues and it listens. In this trust, You become the co-author of your reality, and the pen has been in your hands all along. Use it. Leave me a comment below. Have you felt the force of synchronicity in your own life?